Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah. In the previous video, I have discussed about how we as practitioner, coach or counselor will have to develop our own attitudinal values development so that when we take care of our client or our patient, we would then be able to have a complementary worldview in which we can then exercise our experiential experience in terms of our own self-development, because our own self-development will then finally lead us to self-actualization in this world. That means we have this self-actualization in terms of the spiritual, emotional, mental and physical integration. So this is our journey. Each and every one of us will have to go on that journey. It is how we manifest that journey through Iman, through Islam, through Ihsan, and how we build ourselves to become a good human being and then return to Allah in the state of goodness, because Allah is the giver of all good and in His hands is all goodness. So what is important is when we realize that our journey is towards self-actualization, we also need to bring our client towards self-actualization at their level. Each and every one of us will have different levels of self-actualization, but that doesn't mean that one is more superior than the other, because it is circumstantial depending on your circumstances. There are a lot of great alim and ulama and scholars who are just mere farmers or shepherds. Even prophets are a lot of prophets were shepherds because they had the time to look at the realm of the universe, the stars, the moon, the wind, the snow, the clouds, and they became more and more aware of their insignificance of their existence in the physical realm compared to the absolute realm of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which He has created. So creating or trying to develop ourselves to the next level of self-actualization is key to our own self-development as well as the development of our clients. So as I mentioned, our protocol is IIAS: intention, intervention, attitudinal values and transformation and development, and then self-actualization. At this self-actualization, we will then be able to first answer our own existential question. For example, Islam provides an answer. It is not a philosophical framework of this or that or this or that or this nitty question like, who am I? What is my existence? Where am I going to after I die? Who created me? Why am I living in this world? Why there is suffering? Why there is pain? All that is answered within the existential framework of the metaphysical Islamic worldview. So we have the answer. So because we have the answer, first we must imbue ourselves with that answer. It is quite difficult because in the modern life we are only imbued with the measure of success, of self-actualization, because if you go to those motivational guru, yes, you must make $1 million or $1 billion and you must become rich and have a private jet and have, what does you have? You have just physical things, which are just fleeting things in their reality of existence. It has no value and no existence except it is a vehicle to carry us through in this dunya. Alright? Even this very dunya, this very earth, is a fleeting thing because Allah tells us in the Quran many times. You read all the short surahs, you can tell Allah tells us about all the fleeting existence of this universe and how this world, our dunya itself, will implode, all right, and how this whole end of time will come about. But each and every one of us need not wait until the end of time of this dunya. Each and every one of us have a finite time and space within this dunya. So this existential question of who am I is explained in Islam. Allah tells us Allah created us from the point in which the sperm and the egg meet and it sticks itself on the wall of the womb. It starts multiplying. Allah has ordained that egg and sperm that fuse together, that become the embryo, to grow to become a child. And at a certain point in the growth of the embryo, Allah infused His breath. That means He gives us what? Consciousness, conscious awareness. That is the nature of our existence. That means it is not cognitive awareness. Cognitive awareness, as I say, is the mind. It's just the body and the brain. But conscious awareness is you are able to feel and understand your existence vis-a-vis your Creator. That means He manifested our existence. He manifested this universe. He willed everything into existence. When Allah wills a thing to be, Allah tells us, as mentioned in the Quran, kun fayakun. Be and it became. So the same existence of the universe was by the command or the amar of Allah. Our existence is by His command also. But our existence has another level of consciousness, because our consciousness, that is our conscious awareness that develop our perception, is based on understanding that we are first created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means we are His abd, His servant or His slave. And also He commanded that we become a being of consciousness to realize the grandeur of Allah's creation. So our second role on this earth is to be the Khalifa of Allah. That's why, in that sense, we know who we are. So if somebody, a non-Muslim, asks you, who are you? We are a creature manifested by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to exist on this earth, and we have a role. Our role is what? We are created to be self-actualized beings. All of us. In terms of what? Our spiritual, emotional, mental and physical self. That means mind, body and soul. We must be self-actualized, and to self-actualize at the mind, body and soul level, we must have conscious awareness. Remember that, because consciousness is this unique human quality that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has endowed upon us, this human species, where Allah tells us in the Quran that He created us as a Khalifa, and He gave us this symbolic language, the capacity to name things, the capacity to think, the capacity to differentiate, and the capacity to achieve peace, happiness and success in this world and the hereafter. No doubt there is this turmoil, because as we journey throughout life, there will be suffering, there will be pain, there will be deficiencies, because in the realm of Allah, everything is perfect. When He manifested us into this world is a world of testing. So we are here to be tested by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and because of that, to achieve self-actualization, we must achieve self-awareness. Very, very key. Remember this key. And when we have this self-awareness, we can answer the very basic question. So if in our heart, our inner talk says, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? This kind of thoughts will just come on, automatic thoughts of your inner speech. Who am I? Who am I? What am I supposed to do in this world? You must be able to answer that question in a subtle, logical framework, which is consonant with the worldview of Islam. That's why those understanding of the metaphysics of the nature of existence from the perspective of Islam will give you peace, happiness and success, because you know Allah created you, you know Allah give you a wonderful role as His Khalifa on this earth, you know Allah give you the goodness. You are created fitrah, good, and you can exercise that good or elevate that good. And when you can do that, your conscious awareness will grow, and as your conscious awareness grow, you become more and more self-actualized. This is a process. This is a whole journey. It's not something that today I tell you, tomorrow you get the magic or automatic enlightenment. This is not that. The process that Allah has ordained is a continuous process until we reach the level of Iman, Ainul Yakin, Hakul Yakin. We have the three levels Iman, Ilmu Yakin, Ainul Yakin and Hakul Yakin. To reach that level of Iman, Hakul Yakin, all this existential question, all this self-thought, all this whispering of our nature, of our being, will have to be dissolved in the way that we understand, and not confront, we understand. Because so if there are questions, where am I in this world? you are able to answer that. What am I supposed to do in this world? You are able to answer that. So, am I supposed to do what? So, for me, it's very easy. Allah has ordained and created me to be His Khalifa on this earth. Allah has given me 3 things to do only. Always try to make myself good. That means self-actualize myself through conscious awareness. Help others to be good. Spread the message of goodness. Interact with society in goodness. That means we are also influencing, because our existence is a form of, we call it, if you want to say, okay, our body, our mind, our soul, the spiritual, emotional and mental self, it is a field. Alright? We know that, for example, in our physical body, we have this electromagnetic field. That means our heart gives out in an electromagnetic field, and my electromagnetic field from the heart interact with your electromagnetic field, and there is an interference pattern. The same thing, our cell, every single cell of my body is also having this electromagnetic field, and it is permeating throughout, from my body, outside my body, and it is all going through this universe. That is the law of existence in which Allah has ordained upon. So once we know that we are interacting. So how are we going to interact with our children, our family, our society? Because if our interaction is negative, then we have the whole society becoming negative. And sometimes I see very, very sad situation where I look and study, for example, the natives of Australia. You can see they are all involved in all kind of social problems, drunkenness, drug addiction, glue sniffing, stealing, and so on. But they are good people. They never had that worldview before the coming of the Westerners. They were living in peace with nature. They have no alcohol, they have no drugs, no glue. But because they are oppressed in certain ways, they could not see themselves to be self-actualized. And even though they are given food, clothing, allowance and so on, they are still moving away from their true potential as a wonderful human being. Alhamdulillah, in Muslim societies, however downtrodden you are, if you have this idea of Iman, this idea of submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have conscious awareness of your existence, that this world is temporary. Alhamdulillah, you have one level there, but that also will also create turmoil, because if, for example, in a lot of Muslim countries, you have no job and you have no food. So when you have no job or you have no food, your physical need is not manifested, then you'll be stressed out and you'll be questioning the unfairness or the injustice that's imposed on you by the politicians or the government or the world or whatever it is. So because of that, we have to create that balance. So in positive Islamic psychology, as we go along with this SEMP integration, we are talking about how are we going to fulfill our basic physical needs. Need not be a billionaire or millionaire, but a decent, good life, and how then we can use our akal to understand the conscious awareness of existence, and how we use our qalb to reach out to fill it up with love and goodness, and how we fill up our spirituality to understand the nature of our existence, the purpose and meaning of our existence, until we reach the level of self-actualization. So remember, for your client, this attitudinal change and values will also lead them to self-actualization in whatever measure that you can help that person. All right, for yourself, as you are helping your client or your patient who have psychological problems to overcome their challenges in life, you are also learning this whole idea of mercy, compassion, empathy, forgiveness, love, and all other beautiful values that we can discuss, and how we're going to integrate this to become self-actualized, inshallah. See you.